Well, the PBA On Tour has officially ended, but its impact on, well, everything in general, on the league and its players will be felt for the years to come. Now, joining us tonight to talk about his experience during the summer tournament is Terafirma Jeep big man, now a podcaster. Wow, the big chill, Isaac Go. Welcome back to the studio, brother. How
Thank you.
doing?
I felt that extra gusto in your...
Yeah.
Welcome back, because we're just happy to see you again here in the studio. It's been a minute, as they would say.
It's the return of the comeback, and this for you in general was a comeback in many ways. First of all, how did it feel to actually get a quote-unquote conference in the bag already, especially knowing that this is your return from a lengthy injury?
There are certain aspects that you can try to get back from your injury, whether practices, skills, but a lot of times it's still, for the most part, under your control. Like in a practice situation, your coaches are there to control. Your teammates are aware that you're hurt or you're coming back, so they take it a little bit. They watch out. But when you get into a live situation where you have nothing in control, there are 12, 13 other guys on the floor, you're out of your control, that you just got to play through it. You just got to find a way to stay safe, but at the same time trying to be productive.
Almost 10 points, almost 7 rebounds in your comeback. Where are you now, physically and mentally, at this stage, after the PBA On Tour is done?
I think it was seen that if I play around 20 minutes, it's really, really good. It's now having the ability to stretch that a little bit more, where to reach 26, 30, and you saw some of my teams were playing 40 minutes a game like it was nothing. So I guess that's where the production has to improve. And also, like, my three-point shooting, I was hot to start the season, then it dropped. I think I finished like below 30%.
Yeah, I saw that.
For the conference. So I think those are the two things that I have to work on. And lastly is my post-game, because that was something the team wanted to integrate this preseason, and it was very evident that I was rusty, so that's something I also have to work on.
Yeah, we're now looking at the Isaac Go highlight package right now, and I am a big fan of it. Obviously, you had that 15-point game against TNT, the 10-point game against Magnolia in your last game. You take a look at, you mentioned your points to improve on and all of that, but then do you feel that 100%, Boo mentioned mentally being there, do you feel that you're already fully back to what you were before?
I think mentally-wise that there's no more fear, where probably if you watch my highlights, I have some place there where I jump where I'm not supposed to be jumping, kahit ako nagulat ako. I think the best one was against Rain or Shine, where I go for a tip and my legs collapse underneath me because they were tired, but in my mind, like, why do you go for it? You don't have to go for it. So stuff like that, I think mentally that there's not a lot of fear anymore. Maybe there's a little bit laterally. But aside from that, physically, that's where I think it's more important now. There's still holes that I need to patch up. But mentally, I'm just having fun out there, and it's good to be back.
Okay, that's the individual part of it. Let's talk about the team, Terafirma, and what kind of impact the PBA On Tour has made on the team, and what have you benefited from it as a team?
I think for the one part is, in a way, there's no pressure, because we always come into the season where it's pressure. We have to wins and losses, track, playoffs, bonuses, and all other stuff. But when you go to the preseason where just go out and play, have fun. And I think there was that joy in us na a little bit looser, a little bit more, okay, we can maybe experiment a little bit more. We can try the stuff we see in practice. Then also is that, I think may pagkamalas rin. We weren't really healthy throughout the year, where if you watch our games, me, Eric, and Aldrich, there's always one of us missing for some reason. But parang yun na, because one guy's out, all of a sudden another guy's given bigger opportunity to step up, to show what they have, and parang yun na, to finally get their confidence back.
Yeah, you know, you mentioned experimenting, and some teams did experiment with certain players here because of the fact that, you know, they wanted to try out guys that they haven't necessarily signed yet, or people that they want to sign in the future. You have a couple of great storylines here during PBA On Tour, and I want to start out first with the NLEX Road Warriors. Dom Fajardo, who is an NLEX security officer, not necessarily guard, pero he worked in the security department of NLEX, and that is an incredible story, seeing him really perform in the PBA.
Because of course, is a lot of kids around the Philippines, if you ask them, what's your dream? It's to make it to the PBA. And of course, that when you see someone to finally be able to step on the court, parang yun yung joy niya. That's why he goes out, he plays extremely hard. And there are games where he played really well and was one of NLEX's best players. So parang, yun na, I think he's an inspiration to a lot of players na if he made, a lot of guys can make it too.
How far can he take that? In your opinion?
I think he
What's the realistic scenario for him?
Because again, the PBA, there's a lot of players competing, but again, he's maybe one injury away from cracking the roster. He could be maybe contract disputes. A lot of things.
Not that we wish
Yeah,
that.
Not that we wish it, but there's
yeah.
a lot of things that can go his way for him to maintain his roster in the team.
Yeah, now speaking of someone who's in the roster of a team but not necessarily as a player, itong si Luib of the Converge Fiber Xers, assistant coach. 7 years after he went undrafted, finally getting an opportunity to put on a PBA jersey. How good must have that felt?
I think there's a difference between him and Dom, because I think the dream was never really died because working in NLEX, and wow, I think for McJord, part of him accepted the fact that, okay, I'm not going to play anymore, became a coach, and joined the staff of Coach Aldin Ayon. And all of a sudden, Coach Aldin says, you're going to suit up the next game. So I think yun na, iba, you see now that guys who always had the dream and never died to get a chance. At the same time, for those who may have closed that door, you never know when the door will open once again.
But the theme ongoing here, obviously, and even in our other conversations with our other guests, Paolo, about the PBA on Tour is really opportunities.
Yeah.
Right? That's what it's all about. Opportunities also for existing players to shine or shine again.
Yeah.
And you have a couple of choices there, Isaac.
There's a lot of guys. Because there's guys who came from direct hire from college like Fran Yu. There are guys from the 3x3 program, Jadi Rangel, my teammate Chuck Alanes and Jeremiah Taladu. And there's guys like Diego who, in their rotation, is a little bit buried. There's guys...
Sino si Diego?
Diego
gets so much airtime.
Of course, even he's not
week.
here. But you see that in his rotation, you have Aaron Black, Chris Banquero, Chris Newsom, and now, because those guys are absent, all of a sudden he's given the keys to the offense, allowed to play a little bit more, and parang yun na, there's that confidence, there's that freedom, there's that, parang you're not looking over your shoulder, you're just going full steam ahead.
Just so you know, so that wasn't part of the conversation. It was actually supposed to be Von Pesumal and Carl Brian Cruz.
But it's also underscoring the point that there were many.
Yes,
many, right?
100%.
But
then,
yes, talk about Von
And I think those are two where I know Von has always been a guy who's ready to play, always healthy. But again, if you look at that Ginebra rotation, that is stacked.
Yep.
All of a sudden, here's 40 minutes. And we know Von as a catch and shoot guy. And all of a sudden, taking guys off the dribble. He's talking some smack to me also in the game.
Really?
Yeah, he does. But you just see that he's allowed to play a little bit more free. And a guy like Carl Brian Cruz, who we've seen what happened. He was healthy in Alaska, but he got hurt. Never really found his groove. It took a while for him to get healthy. Then all of a sudden, shooting. He shot 40% for 3, average 15 and 5. All of a sudden, parang yun eh. It just gives so much confidence to a guy na parang baka pababa na siya noon na am I gonna crack a rotation spot? Am I gonna get missed? All of a sudden, I'm the main gun. I'm taking 8 threes a game and I'm not looking back.
Absolutely. Isaac, we're not letting you go. In fact, you will stay here for the entire show.
It's the Isaac Go Show.
Sanay na siya sa mga podcast eh. Long form na lahat.
So he's staying with us. I hope you do too, because after the break,